Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Our notable for tonight is not known for his religious scholarly knowledge. He's also not known for his worldly scholarly knowledge. He's not the father of engineering like our previous notable. He's also not known to be a fearless warrior. Our notable for tonight is actually a slave. It is someone who was taken, he was captured and made to be a slave. He was captured from the Western African region. So maybe Mali or Senegal or Guinea, one of these countries. He was about 15 years old and he was going to a madrasa. You know, he was going through an Islamic school. He was going through his Islamic studies. This is back in the 1750s. The 1750s. So he was captured. He was made a slave. He was shipped to America, to the United States, and he was enslaved for 44 years. 44 years. And he used to make bricks. He was a brick maker, and he used to make baskets. He was very skilled, and he was a very hard worker. His name is Mahmoud Yarrow. Mahmoud Yarrow. You can actually Google him, and you can see a portrait of him. There was a PBS documentary about him.
His last name is Mahmoud?
Yarrow. Yarro. And in his native language, he's not called Mahmoud. In some reports is Muhammad, but I think it's more like Mahmoud. But in the native language, we have a brother from Guinea. What do you call Abu Bakr? What do you call Mahmoud in Guinea? Mahmoud. Is it Mahmoud? Is it Mahmoud? Mahmoud.
It's Mahmoud.
Yeah, but in Guinea.
I mean, non-educated people call it Mahmoud.
Mahmoud.
You can't write it now.
Right, Mahmoud. So it's Mahmoud Yarrow. But he never, here's the most amazing thing about him is he never forgot his religion. You know, his life was very tough. It was very tough. But he kept his religion. Okay, I think it's good now. He kept holding on to his religion. And remember, this is 1750s, right? So it's not like he had a smartphone. He could look up hadith, he could look up Quran. He's probably one of the very first Muslims to come to America, one of the very first. And he was in the Washington, D.C. area. He probably was the only Muslim in Washington, D.C. Probably the only Muslim. And since he was going to a madrasa, it's very likely that he was a hafid or knew large portions of the Quran. But to continue to be a hafid, to continue knowing the Quran, you have to review it. He had no way of reviewing the Quran. It's not like he could go to a library and pick up a copy of the Quran. It's 1750s. So he probably just retained, whatever he was able to keep, of Quran and dhikr and all of that. His master had an agreement with him that after he finished building his mansion, he would free him, because he was making the bricks for the mansion of his master. But as he was building that mansion, his master died. But after he finished building the mansion, the wife of his master, kept the promise. She said, "I know that you had this deal with my husband, so you're done. I'm going to set you free." So she set him free at the age of 60. At the age of 60. So now he's a free man. So he started working and earning some money, did some business, lost, did some more business, lost, did more business. Made enough money to buy a piece of land and a house in Georgetown in the Washington, D.C. area. And Georgetown now is a very upscale area. And his house is actually there, or at least the land where his house was is still there. And it is said that he was buried in his house, in the yard of his house, where he used to pray. So there was a spot, like in his yard, where he was praying, and he was buried in that spot. And it is reported that he had said that religion is no good if it's not from the heart. Religion is no good if it's not from the heart. And it was also reported that he would be walking in the streets and like doing tasbih or reciting Quran. The non-Muslims, they think it's singing in a foreign language, but it's not singing in a foreign language. It is, either Quran or dhikr. Imagine that. Just think about that. This is probably the only Muslim in the area. And he's proud to be a Muslim. After 44 years of, being enslaved, he didn't forget his religion. And the portrait of him, it shows him with a beard and, the Muslim hat. This is a person who, all the odds were against him, but he fought to keep his religion. And actually, it's interesting that some people think that Islam is a new thing to America. Islam is like from the 1950s or the 1960s, when in fact the founding fathers of this country had Islam in mind when they wrote the Constitution. Like Thomas Jefferson, he actually had a copy of the Quran, and he had some notes. He was very interested in law, and he knew that Islam had a lot of law. And this probably explains why a lot of the American laws, are similar to like Islamic laws, like the jury, the jury system, that's from Islam. Or putting your hand on the Bible, on the holy book, and taking an oath, that is from Islam. So they got lots of things from Islam. And actually, in his writings, he was saying that this country needs to be founded on the basis that people need to be able to, have free religion, whether they are Christians or Mohammedans. Muslims used to be called Mohammedans or Hindus or whatever. People need to be able to practice their religion freely. So don't think that this is, when we're practicing our religion here, don't think that this is a favor that Christians gave to us. No, this comes straight from the founding fathers. It comes straight from the Constitution. That this is what this country is built upon. It is built on religious freedom. This is Yarrow. This is Mahmoud Yarrow. He died when he was about 80-something years old.
Last name?
Yarrow.
Yeah.
Yarro. I know. I don't know what to do about it. And here's the interesting thing. There was no one there to pray janazah. Because he was the only Muslim. Janazah prayer was prayed for him 200 years after he died. He died in 1815. The Imam of Masjid Muhammad in Georgetown, along with a group of people, including the executive director of CARE and other people, they actually prayed janazah on him in 2015. 200 years after he died, janazah was prayed for this person who held tight to his religion. We can all learn from Mahmoud Yarrow. We think it's tough for us, but this brother had no mosque to go to. He had no mosque. He had no brothers to, sit down and recite Quran together. He probably didn't even have a copy of the Quran, right? But even with all of these challenges, he held tight to his religion. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on our brother Mahmoud Yarrow and to reward him for all of his efforts and struggles. Subhanakallahumma hamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.